Ready. On.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order. On. Order. Call. Ready. Forward. On. Hold. Ready. Ready. Back. Hold. Call. Ready. Ready. Back. Play. Ready. Forward. On.
I'd like to present the Vermont Department of Corrections Honor Guard. Please take a seat.
Class, take seats.
Good morning and welcome to the graduation of the 170th Vermont Correctional Academy. I want to thank you all for coming and showing your support for graduates here today. I would like to first introduce the panel seated on the stage at this time. Commissioner of Corrections, Nicholas Demmel. The Agency of Human Services Deputy Secretary, Todd Delos. Chief of Operations, Alan Cormier. And Security and Operations Manager, Dave Turner. Today culminates 6 weeks of training for these 51 new correctional officers. Through their last 6 weeks, they have been challenged academically, physically, and intellectually. The Vermont Correctional Academy is an intensive 6-week program that tests individuals through a mixture of classroom instruction, practical exercise, and intensive social interaction. Today, these new correctional professionals stand ready to not only join the ranks of the Vermont Department of Corrections family, but also serve the citizens of Vermont. Today, we could not have been possible without the selfless service of the superintendents, managers, and staff who made today possible. Through their efforts, these new correctional officers are prepared to begin their new career with the Department of Corrections. I would like to thank the trainers, administrators, and other support staff that dedicated their time to making today a reality. There have been many achievements in the last 6 weeks for these new officers. Some of those achievements are both individual in their goals in which they set, and as the team themselves. While these achievements are defined in various ways, we would like to recognize some of those achievements with the Academy Awards. The first Academy Award, Outstanding Leadership. The recipient of the award is nominated by their peers for displaying outstanding leadership and professionalism during the Academy. The recipient of the 170th Outstanding Leadership Award is Thomas Merritt of the Southern State Correctional. The next award is Class Valedictorian Award. Class Valedictorian Award is awarded to the graduate who had the highest GPA over the 6 weeks of training. With a GPA of 98.6, the 170th Class Valedictorian is also Thomas Merritt. The final award is the Class Speaker Award. The Class Speaker is chosen by their peers and has been chosen to speak for the class. The 170th Class Speaker is Scout Spencer of Northern State Park.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Scout Spencer, and I have the pleasure of being the class speaker for the 170th graduating class of the Vermont Correctional Academy. Thank you all for joining us today. 6 weeks ago today, I and the 50 men and women in the front seat, sitting in seats similar to these, an unfamiliar classroom, some far away from home, and some just a few blocks away. Some of us thinking, how did I get here? And others thinking, how do I get out of here? These are some of the thoughts that went through my head the first time I stepped into a unit, and again when sitting into the academy, coming into the academy. I had no idea what to expect or if I could accomplish the task set before me, but as I sat in my assigned seat in the 170th class, I realized that nobody else around me did either. None of us prepared for the number of sandwiches that we would be consuming or how many push-ups we would be doing. We didn't expect the learning processes we would go through or the lessons behind every mundane task. Even though we were set into our very even squads, we kept everyone accountable, unanimously adopting the code that no pen is left behind. Week 2 of the academy, I had the opportunity to hone my courage and find my voice when I was voluntold to be class leader. I quickly found that my classmates did not want to listen to me, which was, the timing was perfect because that was during ACT week, so I was able to get extra practice in for all those communication skills. The opportunity to be leader for the class accurately prepared me for my new career. The glorious moment right now is speaking in front of all you fine people, which is a lot harder than I thought it would be. Our class was tasked with choosing 3 core values to which we hold ourselves to throughout our careers in corrections. As a class, we chose integrity, communication, and teamwork. Despite not being our strong suits at first, these values began to mold us and serve us well during our long hours of learning how to be in the classroom again, which for some of my classmates was a long time ago, and for some, just a minute. We stuck together as a team through all the fluctuating temperatures of what felt like boiling hot lava to ice cold classroom conditions. We owned up to lost pens, we owned up to going the wrong way out of the parking lot, we owned up to all of our mistakes, and trust me, there were a lot. I couldn't have asked for a better ragtag team of people to be with through these weeks of stressful tests and physical assessments like speed cuffing, which we all know miserable, first is the worst, and second is the best. And awkward ACT scenarios featuring the best bad actresses, Andrea, Tris, and Stephanie. Through most of our stuffing methods were obscure, they were proven useful. Speaking of graduating, none of us would be here without the guidance of our very wise instructor, Mr. Lytle, who not only put up with us for 6 weeks, but taught us from his personal experiences in the facility, truly being the leader that we needed. We should all be very proud of where we are and what we have accomplished, not only for ourselves and how far we've come, but for each other. Coming together when it counted for the late night study sessions with flashcards and endless behavior commitments, or the amazing play swapping system and encouragement of the dreaded OC day, which I'm personally never going to do again. It was not good. I was very red the entire time. We were told that the Vermont 170 Class Academy was one of the largest groups the department has seen in a long time. And if not the most memorable, we were definitely the most motivated. And motivated we will continue to be as we enter the DOC workforce, not only to alleviate stressful working conditions and long hours and low morale, but continue to make corrections a better place to be, encouraging others to follow in our steps. Congratulations to my fellow classmates. I hope you all stay safe as you return to your respective facilities, that you continue to work with integrity, teamwork, and never underestimate the value of communication. Thank you.
Department of Corrections, Nicholas Dillon.
It's a tough act to follow, but a good selection certainly from the class, and appreciate those remarks. Good morning to the family, friends, distinguished guests we have with us, and to the 170th Academy class. It's my honor to join you today. My name is Nick Demmel. I'm the Commissioner of the Department of Corrections. It's customary in speeches like this to detail the significance of graduation. It's as much a beginning as it is an end. The beginning, initiated today, takes on particular significance because you will not only receive your graduation certificate today, but tomorrow you start a career of service, of sacrifice, of honor. Most in our society will never understand or experience the full measure of commitment that you make as a correctional officer. And our efforts to explain this to them are often similarly weak and fruitless. Instead, we join the ranks of solemn professionals who serve quietly, who are dedicated to that service above self, and who eagerly embrace a varied and demanding lifestyle, where our successes are seldom celebrated and our failures come crashing down with tremendous fury. On my desk in the central office, I have a small wooden plaque that reads, "Hard things are hard." The two lessons I take away from this plaque: one, hard things require extra energy, extra commitment, often come with extra pain, and that's what makes them hard. The second lesson is that hard things are the things worth doing, even if we have to do them against long odds and in adverse conditions. They enable us to prove to ourselves who we truly are, and sometimes who we might want to be. They stretch us and push us outside our comfort zone, and they force us to grow. The job you're about to take is a very hard job. Every single job in this department is hard, as many in this room can testify to. That's how I knew this is where I wanted to be, and I'm glad that you decided to join me here. I want to be here because I want the challenge. I want to be the best. And those challenges, that hardship, is what makes us grow and makes you a better person. You'll find these challenges throughout your career in corrections because this job is hard. But it also affords the unique opportunity for service and a demonstration of your commitment to your communities. It's a career of honor, and I think you will find it is a career of immense personal fulfillment. Some of you here will thrive in the daily business of security operations in our facilities. You'll master the trade craft of a corrections officer. You'll seek opportunities to excel, rise through the ranks, and hopefully, after refining your skills and learning the intangible, unteachable lessons of life as a career as a corrections officer, you'll ascend to a facility superintendent. Others of you, through choice or circumstance, will flourish in numerous different roles in the department, from a CO in one of our facilities to a probation officer, a policy formulator at the central office, whatever those opportunities are for you. And with that experience, you may speak with authority and with purpose in front of our legislature or with our governor on the best practices of corrections and help steer our department and the state to the front of this cutting-edge public policy area. I hope, regardless of what path you take, you'll all come to understand the immense value of a career in corrections. I hope you find personal value in your work, and I hope that you will find that you add significant value to other people's lives. Single people who you'll meet when you're in the facilities, tens of people eventually, hundreds of people, and if you stay long enough, people. Thousands of human lives that you will have a direct impact on over the course of your career. It's what some authors call the virtuous cycle, where your activity creates momentum and establishes an upward spiral of positive activity, positive impact. What I mean is, you'll find that if you do this job right, you will be fulfilled personally, and you will add value to other people's lives while supporting your community. This department needs you here. You're joining us at a critical juncture as we stabilize our system after a once-in-a-lifetime public health crisis, as we modernize and invent the next era in the practice of corrections, and as we build a new, more nimble, forward-facing department to better serve our state and its people. But equally as important, this department wants you here. I want you here. I want you to enjoy this career where you can have real positive change. The 170th Academy class is the largest correctional class on record, and you were recruited against our highest standards we have ever set. By coincidence more than design, this is also one of the most diverse classes in memory. And this comes as we work to recommit ourselves to the values of diversity, to equity, and to inclusion. You also completed the longest training curriculum to date, and you now, as a result, graduate as the best trained correctional officers in state history. You've done the hard work to this point, and you're poised for great success in your careers. And it's for these reasons that I'll make you the following promises. The department will always treat you with dignity and with respect. We will invest in your careers, and your career success will be our top priority. To do this, we'll create individual professional development plans based on what you want and what you need out of your career. We'll regularly evaluate your performance to help you identify areas of strength and areas for improvement to help you to become the best officer, best correctional staff member that you can be. We're going to do this through increased professional development, increased training, and open up as many opportunities as we can for you to pursue the opportunities that you are most interested in. I personally will do everything that I can to enable your success in this department and in your state service. But we also recognize that you're human beings. You have human needs. And we as a department should support your whole life, not just the time you're inside the walls of our facilities. A career in corrections is not just a job. It truly is a lifestyle. And so, in recognition of that, our department needs to support that whole life. From paying benefits to personal wellness to career building, we want to support you in all that you do. And this final promise will protect you. I say frequently, and I've said throughout my tenure as the commissioner, that as long as a staff member acts in good faith and demonstrates integrity, the department will always support them through thick and thin. We all make mistakes, but what defines us is what we do when we make those mistakes. We need to own them, we need to learn from them, we need to improve for the future. We can't be afraid to make mistakes, but we must make them in the right way. So I encourage you, do not be afraid to make mistakes. It will happen. But never be afraid to admit when you do. And that is the level of integrity we are seeking. And let me close with this to the family and friends who are with us in the audience today, and those who couldn't be here. You should be proud of what the graduates accomplished over these last 6 weeks. But more importantly, I hope that you will be proud of them every day and what they accomplish in their careers going forward. These men and women sitting here today are public servants in the truest sense of the phrase. They need your love, your support, your care. I know firsthand what it means to serve serve in hard situations, and I know that in those moments, those toughest moments, we turn to our family and our friends for assistance. So please do support them and love them through this process. They're going to need you now more than they ever have, and we as a department will be there to support all of you throughout this journey. I want to thank the graduates for stepping up and answering the call to service. Thank you to the family and friends here for your support in this effort. You are all about to embark on a journey, and this is only the beginning. Congratulations to you, and welcome to the Vermont Department of Corrections.
I'd like to now introduce the Agency of Human Services Deputy Secretary, Taylor.
I want to echo something that the Commissioner started with. There is a lot of pride in this room. There's pride for the folks in gray who have come through a challenging 6 weeks. And I know some of you were on the floor in correctional facilities before that. But you should be proud of your accomplishments. You should sit back for a minute, take a deep breath, and bask in that pride. And for the rest of us, we should be extremely proud of the work they've done. We should be extremely proud of the commitment they've taken on and the support you all have given them, and we will give them moving forward in this career. This is a day to really reflect and appreciate. So there are really just three things I want to say to you all today. I want to congratulate you, I want to further appreciate you, and I want to lay out the expectations for you from the Agency of Human Services. So Vermont is a little unique. The Agency of Human Services, for which I work, and you all now work, encompasses not only the Department of Corrections, which is our focus today, but we really focus on the most vulnerable Vermonters in all aspects of their lives. From children in the Department for Children and Families and young parents, through to the Department of Disabilities, Aging and Independent Living. We work with folks dealing with mental health crises in the Department of Mental Health, and also with the Department of Health, which we've been deeply involved in the last 3 years, and I'm sure folks are well aware of that. And finally, our Medicaid program, as well as corrections. Now, why is that important and unique? Because in Vermont, we look at human services spanning every aspect of those vulnerable Vermonters. When I started my job here, one of the first questions I had of the secretary at the time was, what are the real goals of the agency? And very quickly, Secretary Smith said, to not have any Vermonters involved in the agency. Our goal throughout is to move people from services to self and community sufficiency. Obviously, for corrections, folks are in one of the hardest times in their lives. And so I want to touch on that, but first I want to really flag what the Commissioner said about the hard work you're going to undertake. And I want to congratulate you on picking up that hard work. I want to congratulate you on stepping into a role that is so vital for our most vulnerable Vermonters. These are folks who, through choices they've made in their lives, through experiences they've had in their lives, are in challenging circumstances. And our responsibility is to care for them, to be custodians of them, and through that work, fundamentally, protect all Vermonters. Because at the end of the day, that is the baseline requirement for correction. I also want to congratulate you on a brilliant choice. You have joined an excellent department, a department full of commitment and dedication, with visionary leadership, and a true desire to make Vermont better for all Vermonters. So congratulations. I also want to appreciate the energy that comes not only from CO Spencer and her remarks, that clearly speak to the attitude that I get from this 170th class. I appreciate the energy, I appreciate the commitment I appreciate the person power and diversity of experience you are going to bring to our Department of Corrections. That kind of diversity provides us with greater leadership for the population that we serve, for the Department of Corrections, and in the end, for Vermont. So I appreciate that work. I also want to reflect and appreciate the fact that in working with this extremely vulnerable population, that the real goals of the Department of Corrections are to protect the vulnerable in our custody, protect Vermonters outside our custody, and, very importantly, work with those individuals for whom we care to move them to a more healthy and productive life. At the end of the day, what we want for everyone in corrections custody is to improve their lives, as you have chosen to do by taking on this job. That's my appreciation. Expectations are perhaps the most important element of this. And I want to reflect and appreciate that integrity is one of the watchwords of this group. Integrity is what builds trust in the systems of government, and integrity is what keeps us accountable. And as long as we have that integrity day to day, as the Commissioner said, as long as we own the inevitable mistakes we're going to make, we're able to maintain that trust with the population of Vermont, and importantly, the trust you will need to have with the incarcerated population in our facilities. And the population, for those of you who are working in communities, will continue to support as they move out of incarceration and into society again. One element of expectation for me, and especially for the Department of Corrections, is the strength you bring in the humanity you will carry into the facilities. I think a lot of us, maybe not you all, but I certainly will speak for myself, had a very specific view of what corrections meant, what it means to work in a correctional facility. And most of it came from TV. Most of it came from the popular imagination of gang fights and tremendous danger, hardened criminals, working strategically to overcome the oppressive correctional officer. That's not what it's like. The realities in the facilities, as many of you know better than I do, is that we are caring for people as people. And so you have the training. You will continue to increase your education, as the Commissioner says, the tradecraft you will bring in those facilities, but I always want you to carry your humanity with you. I was visiting a correctional facility several months ago up in Northwest, and we were walking through the facility. I've been in a number of correctional facilities, but I am not savvy on a number of fronts, but certainly not savvy in a correctional facility. And I was with two other folks who really hadn't been in a correctional facility before, and we were touring through with the superintendent. And as we made our way from area to area, we found our way in the segregation unit. What maybe in the popular imagination is solitary confinement or lockup. It's not solitary. But it is an important space within the facility. And at that facility at the time, there were some really challenging individuals, folks who had not regulated into the correctional system yet, who were still providing a lot of challenge for the staff. And we'd heard about some of these folks in our briefing and walking through the facility. So we're standing there learning a little bit more, as talking heads like me do, walking through facilities. And the CO who was on duty was sort of sharing with us what his experience was like. And then an individual who was in the segregated unit, yelled out, "Hey CO, I'm done. Can I make a phone call?" And we were standing there. I'm dressed basically like I am today. And without a doubt, without a thought, without a consideration, the CO on duty opened the segregation door, and this individual who we had heard a lot about was released, not even this far away. And the folks I was with, and I will admit myself too, got a little tense for a minute. And I was completely wrong. Because the way that CO responded to this individual, and I'm sure had been responding to this individual, through the crises he'd experienced to date, through the challenges he'd thrown that CO's way, with humanity. Connecting as though he was letting somebody in to seat them at a fancy restaurant, or he was welcoming them into his house. He did not lose his sense of authority. He did not break the important characteristics of a CO, but he also wasn't treating this individual in our custody with anything less than the dignity and respect we all want in life. Now, I won't supersede any training you've received, but I will tell you, in my experience, and would recommend you in your future experience, that bringing that humanity to work every day will be a vital component to your ability to work with this population, to work with your colleagues, to work with your leadership. And so I welcome you to humanize both what it means to be a correctional officer and what it means to be an individual in our custody, and work to really make that human connection. It's also important to remember that individuals in our custody are highly complex. They are not coming to us from a simple background. They have had experiences in their lives, maybe similar to experiences you've had in yours, and they have made choices out of those that have resulted in them being in our custody and control. It's important, though, to remember, and I just give you these numbers as you consider, and this is, again, part of the reason that we look at Vermont as a fairly unique agency, housing all of human services. About 50% of our incarcerated population right now are undergoing treatment for some kind of drug or opiate addiction. About 50% are on some kind of mental health medication. It's important to remember these folks are struggling. They're struggling in the same ways that we all struggle in our lives, and they're doing it with a lot of burden upon them. And part of the role in those facilities is to help support those folks. So in that work, I hope that you're able to help the rest of the agency begin making a shift for Vermont, to fight the challenges we face in the mental health space, to fight the challenges we face in the substance use space, and more than anything, to continue keeping Vermonters safe day after day. So I will close by saying congratulations and welcome to the Agency of Human Services. I appreciate all that you've put in to become a correctional officer and supporting these correctional officers. We expect great things from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Secretary. We will now begin our certificate presentation, which will be followed by the professional oath administered by Facility Operations Manager Dave Turner.
Good one. Attention. My face.
Nathaniel Atkins. If you would like to come up and take pictures of your graduate, we can do that as well. Nicholas Aiken. Michael Allen. Leon Asbury. Dylan Burns. Darrell Berger. Brian Cadet.
Attention. Right face.
Richard Cosgrove. Corey Cowles. Dennis. Ryan Fairfield. Emilio Garcia. Gregory Goddard. Tate Geddes.
Roll three, attention. Right face.
Rhonda Greenway. Samantha Harris. David Martin. Jordan Jeffries. Aman Kang. Jessica Larson. Kaylin LeBrun. Skyland Leonard. Stephen Levine.
Attention. Right face.
Alyssa Matthews. Hayden McGarvey. Charles Mercado. Thomas Merritt. Roshane Mitchell. Gordon Moore. Cody Odell. Cyrus Eston. Robert Poplewski.
Attention. Right face.
Megan Royston. Ronald Russell. Nicholas Siegler. Asia Smythe. Scout Spencer. Donald Squires. Jessica State.
Attention. Lively.
Elizabeth Stoddard. Anthony Tabb. Sebastian Tabb. Mark Tyndale. Anthony Organo. Maria Valdeva. Benjamin West. Kendra Woods. Brianna Zambrana.
Class, attention!
Class, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I acknowledge this oath and the badge of my profession. As symbols of the public trust in my ability and commitment. To provide for the public safety as a professional correctional officer. I agree to maintain the highest ethical standards. And serve the Department of Corrections to the best of my ability. I freely accept this responsibility. And swear to uphold the humanitarian and legal principles. Of the corrections profession throughout my career. Lawyer and congratulations.
and gentlemen, would you please rise as we begin our class session?